So this is the Mount Rushmore podcast, and I, as always, am Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.
Talk louder, guys.
We do that at the end, don't we? Whoa.
All right.
We're
These
all
microphones
starting
need to be closer. These microphones need to be closer. And we are streaming because we knew it wasn't enough for you to hear the dulcet tones of our voices. It's our sexy faces that the America people and people around the world need to see to really fall in love with us. So we're going to stream these two shows tonight. It's going to be Mount Rushmore of Circus acts is one of them, and the Mount Rushmore of sports ejections. I said ejections is the second one. Michael and Richard. Richard, lean to your left.
How far?
Okay.
Like you want Bernie Sanders all the way to the left, or more of a?
Richard is over. He's drying his laundry in the dryer and washer area, which is over there.
Which is my camera? That one? Hey.
Speak to camera.
Which one's you?
I think that's gonna be your guy right there.
All right.
Okay. So Richard and Michael. They debate and deliberate the most ubiquitous aspects of many topics, and this week's topic is the Mount Rushmore of circus acts. So now we have maybe a more expansive idea of what a circus is than we did even 50 years ago when there was the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey and Circus Vargas or whatever. Sure. Yeah, because we got European circuses and French-Canadian circuses and Monty Python's flying circuses and all those things that we can refer to. But I don't know what the rules are with this guys. These guys usually come out with something crazy. So we're going to start.
It's Richard's topic.
It's Richard's go. It's not?
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
nice.
don't even remember that I made this suggestion. We're on a great start already.
Yes, within a fever dream, he suggested this.
Richard driving past Circus Liquor is just like, how about Circus Acts? The end.
A good enough way to make a decision for a podcast.
It's not the worst. It's certainly not the worst idea that we've had. Reason that we've had an idea.
That is true. We are a top 4 podcast, meaning we rank the top 4 of different things. Not that we are in any way the 4th of podcasts in any category. So, Richard, since you thunk it, Michael, you get to be the person that makes the first choice as to what it is.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
So something near and dear to your heart, I thought of, Dick Grayson, Robin the Boy Wonder, and a trapeze artist.
Oh, that's also on my list.
Okay, trapeze artist. All right. Okay.
Now, the trapeze, I think, is the one thing that is really maintained throughout this kind of being in the circus nowadays. There's so much about whatever the circus used to be 100 years ago that's just kind of faded away into nostalgia, especially with like animals and touring animals and torturing animals. But how fun it is to torture animals. But like, I think the trapeze, the person that is literally above the crowd, that is seemingly putting their life on the line in spite of probably, thousands and thousands of hours of training and repetition and falling and hitting the net and all this stuff, but to do it without a net and to fly through the air is still like one of those things that comes back to it's kind of like mankind's greatest dream and feeling. You dream about flying and to be
mankind flies off the cage.
But to fly through the air and to see someone fly through the air and to know, like, as a spectator, that the human body shouldn't be doing what it's doing. I think that's why we love gymnastics so much. I think that's why we love to see everything from like high diving to low diving. I don't know, any sorts of a person moving through the air, spinning, doing things that they shouldn't be doing because we are an earthbound creature is wild. And to combine that with the trust of someone doing that, to people doing that together and holding, whatever this is, whatever the grasping of the arms is something that like you only see in like
your name has to be Walenda before you get to know what that is even
either
called.
That or like you're in like a Conan movie.
Yeah,
like you can't high five someone normally. Yeah. You have to like grab someone by the wrist.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or you're like a trapeze artist. Yeah. and I think that when I think of the circus nowadays, through all of the iterations, that is the thing that is just like someone up there defying gravity, possibly dying for your amusement, but probably not because they put in 25,000 hours
Yeah.
doing this thing.
And also they have nets. Most of the circuses have nets now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not. We're beyond the barbaric days where you went to the circus and you really had a good chance of seeing someone be maimed or killed.
I think there's probably also like the net that you don't see. There's like the net
Yeah.
that they're like, oh, they take away the big net, and there's like, oh, there's a little net under there.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it doesn't take away from the fact that I think one of the things about going to the circus is a sense of wonder. And you get to in seeing people do things that you would not be able to do, either because of skill level or fear level.
Or legally, you've been
Barred
barred.
barred from grabbing people that way.
Yeah. Barred from putting on clown makeup and running into a crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I think that there's something about that idea of overcoming fear, that you have to be somebody who is fearless to be able to do the trapeze. And yeah, it's just cool as hell. I mean, it is, like Michael, I think, hit on it really well. It's, I think, very similar to why we love gymnastics in the Olympics every 4 years.
Yeah.
And then we forget about it. Same thing with the trapeze artists. We love them when we're at the circus, and then we forget about
Yeah.
them.
It's the
rest of
dream.
time.
Maybe many people have had, like me, a dream of flight, a dream that you have the power of a bird or something like that. So yeah, that's really interesting, because I think when most people think about circus, they kind of immediately think of animals or some of those elements of it. But the feats of daring do. And there's a gentleman named Ryan Love, who's a friend of the podcast and has been on the podcast, who actually has echoed some of our comments. He mentioned the Daring Young Man of the Flying Trapeze, that there's even a song. I think that was a hit song in 1902 or something like that. And then, of course, he did mention Circus Liquor as a top-tier liquor store here.
That's questionable, but
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
What a tier of what?
Tier of what? I don't know. Maybe tier.
Tier.
Maybe-
He misspelled it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to our second of the Mount Rushmore of circus acts, and that would be Ricardo
All right.
Montalban. What
My-
is yours? Yeah.
Yes, my second one. My second one is clowns
Oh, okay.
and the general act of clownery,
Okay.
or the clown arts.
Clown arts.
Yes. Which, look, I don't. Here's the thing about clowns. You're either going to see a good clown or a really shitty clown.
Okay.
I feel like there's
Not
no mediocre clowns.
There's no medium. There's no.
There's
Steve
no
Gutenberg.
lukewarm the clown.
Yes. You either see, I've been to circuses. There's a circus out in Las Vegas they do at Paris. I think it's like Circus 1902 or something like that is what it's called. And it's supposed to be a recreation of like a circus from the early 1900s.
Oh, wow.
And the clowns there were great. But you could go see another circus and the clowns are just over the top
Yeah.
and just buffoonery. And you're like, okay, this is for like 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
And even 4-year-olds are like, okay, being a little bit broad here.
That's clearly not a baby. That's an old man in a diaper being pushed around in that carriage. Come on.
Come on, how many people can you fit in that car? We've seen this before. But I mainly it just makes me. Speaking of Circus Liquor and their clown outside, I know people who won't go into Circus Liquor because of the clown,
Yeah.
because they are scared of clowns.
Yeah.
And just the idea of being scared of a clown. I don't care about clowns. I have no positive or negative interest in clowns whatsoever.
Is this a brag?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay.
I have defeated my fear of
There's
clowns.
no
And you
Avenger-
can too.
There's no Avengers where they're looking for a guy who just isn't afraid of clowns.
No.
No. Okay. I had the good fortune of guesting on a podcast called What the Fear, WGF What the Fear, and it's hosted by Bullseye the Clown, a gentleman who I just met recently, and Crispy the Clown, Jeremy Cohen. But they talk about colrophobia, which is fear of clowns. And I went on to talk about my colrophobia. And
Of course, fake Batman would have a fear of clowns.
Yeah, he would.
I can't believe it.
the Joker
Didn't realize that a man in clown makeup covering over his mustache would be the ultimate fear for the man that's
You
dressed
got me.
as
J'accuse.
Batman
Yeah.
from 50
Yeah.
years ago.
But I find it fascinating that for me, what I'm fearful of is the performer behind the thing.
Okay.
It's like, who's this guy who needs to dress up like a clown? That's what I'm afraid of is that fella.
Same reason when we did our fair episode a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
More scared of the carnies than the actual carnival ride.
Yes. So what would you deem is the habit, the trait of a good clown? Or when when you see it?
I think that a good clown is able to tap into some kind of humor that's universal.
Yeah.
And it's not, I think, it's not necessarily going for the lowest common denominator.
Okay.
I think it's easy to get a cheap laugh out of a bunch of 4-year-olds. Mm-hmm. It's a little more difficult to do something where even the parents are like, okay, that's kind of funny too.
Yeah.
I think that there's a balance there, and really good kind of clowns, professional, whatever. I don't know what is there a title that clowns like to be called that isn't clowns?
I think they like clown. I've learned that there's different types of clown. Like there's the Auguste clown. There's like different. There's the kind of Weary Willy kind of clown.
Right.
Or like a
Emmett Kelly sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't think there's something. It's like custodial engineer, artist or something like that.
Right.
If that's what you mean.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is that element of. There was that movie. There was that movie, or not TV, the TV series with Zach Galifianakis.
Oh yeah.
Baskets.
Yeah. Which I did not watch.
Yeah.
So I am completely useless in talking about it. But I do assume it gets into who is the type of person who would want to be a clown.
Yeah. I think also the European tradition of clowning versus versus a rodeo clown, which is what he becomes, and the different applications and the milieu for these persons who put on the makeup and do that job. I always thought like a rodeo clown makes every other clown look like an asshole, like because
they're actually dodging bulls,
they're actually
and saving bull riders' lives who are being trampled by 2,000-pound beasts.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they even make kind of like the rodeo riders look kind of like, I guess they have a different job altogether. That guy's job was to stay on a horse, but it makes the feat that the rodeo rider does a little bit less macho because I'm not here with these bulls, dude.
Yeah, they don't. They're one that doesn't go by. They don't go by clowns anymore. I think they're like rodeo entertainers.
Oh, is that right?
Or something like that, because they wanted to be recognized for basically saving riders' lives over and over.
Yeah, okay.
Which, if you're able to stare down a 2,000-pound bull and help get this poor schmuck who's like tied up in the riggings of the bull, and you're able to get him released so he doesn't get trampled to death. Call yourself whatever you want, man.
It's a way to not be referred to as a clown while you're doing that.
Don't wear makeup.
Yeah, don't dress up like a clown.
Yeah.
Like number one, like you could wear like a superhero outfit. There could be like a superhero. Like I'm sure these guys are, and women probably are like fit because they have to literally dodge bulls.
Yeah.
They could have a colorful superhero outfit with streamers and nonsense, but it's when you have like the sad tear coming off your thing and the the hobo mouth and the crazy clown hair that's when that's like at some point you're still dressed like a clown. So like yeah.
I mean, is it true that they are all avoiding the law in some way, shape, or form?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen The Greatest Show on Earth? It's actually a documentary.
It is. Okay. All right. So I understand. So Ryan Love himself actually mentioned Baskets, which was an underrated / underappreciated show, and I agree. And he's asking Richard to ease off the 4-year-olds. So
he's got it.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a 4-year-old too, and he loves.
Does he like clowns? What's his feeling? What's his feeling on
his
clowns?
Current clown Mount Rushmore is if Bugs Bunny is dressed up like a clown, followed by if Elmer Fudd is dressed up like a clown. Followed by whatever it is that Charlie Chaplin is doing. My son, esoteric as he is, he's big fan of Charlie Chaplin. Mm-hmm. He likes Charlie Chaplin, who is just like faking punching people in the, as he'd say, in the tummy. Yeah, just like that is his end all. And then John Wayne Gacy is my 4-year-old's number 4.
Okay, good.
So it's weird, but I understand because he's an important clown.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we did clowns. So, Michael, what is your second?
My second is the guy that puts himself into a cannon and shoots himself out across the arena across the tent into
Yeah.
a net. You can only see that at a circus.
Yeah.
That is like one of these, like, a clown might be something.
You've
that
never been to a party in Central California.
I have
then. A kegger out in the field in the fields and the farms.
Whoever Cannonball guy is, that is like, I'm gonna put myself into like this air velocity cannon that just shoots themselves out. That there's a little sense of like, you go to a circus and you're trying to remove yourself from the disbelief, and like obviously it's not a real cannon because they're not literally exploding you out of a cannon with like gunpowder, and it's like, I'm sure like you're being air vaulted out in the same way that they shoot a t-shirt out into the audience.
No, it's more like a pinball machine where you pull the plunger back and it goes brrrr.
Speaking of my son, we've been playing a lot with actually this morning with a Hot Wheels like ramp thing that you pull the pin back and you set it in a rubber band and you press the thing and it shoots around the thing. And I assume it's a lot like that. But whatever that is, this person that straps a helmet to their head just for like the show of it.
Yeah.
You really don't need that.
Yeah.
Like if you're being shot out of a cannon, I guess it's good practice to put a helmet on whenever. But like, it's all part of the show. But like, just that guy that's in there that just a thing, and they go over a bus or I don't know, a half a dozen, Volkswagen Bugs, whatever's like the shittiest car you can get from the local dealership.
It's very bold compared to some of the acts that you see. Even the high wire guy, you kind of think that guy can get across and back without even falling, and he's kind of faking it. Cannon guy could blow up inside the cannon at any point.
I have seen enough Looney Tunes and Wile E. Coyote cartoons to know that, at least 2 out of every 5 cannons are exploding from one side to the other. Either it blows,
both.
Or both. It just blows up and the guy like drips out like
or you're gonna
slime or whatever.
If you're the Great Gonzo, even if you make it out of the cannon, you're gonna get tangled up in a hot air balloon full of chickens or something like that.
Or you're gonna overshoot the target by like 50 feet.
Want to thank Andrew McPauley for watching. Thank you so much for Andrew for watching. And if you contribute at the $30 a month level, you will get the
You get this tote bag.
The tote bag.
You get each of us shot out of a cannon.
But Andrew,
do
me a solid and post in the chat what your favorite aspect of the circus is, whether you've been to a real one or if you've seen it on TV. I want to apologize to our studio podcast host because my dog definitely farted in the studio, and I can smell it.
Thank you for taking the fall for me.
Blames it on me.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
So if you're just tuning in, this isn't the Olympics. If you see these 3 pristine, very attractive men here, we are not about to go out and do some amazing feats of daring do and athleticism. We are the Mount Rushmore podcast.
We are awarding ourselves medals at the end. I'll just claim bronze.
Right.
I don't mind. I'll fall on it. I'm bronze.
Yeah.
I don't got.
Jeff and I have agreed to split the gold medal
split the gold.
halfway.
Like
those high jumpers.
Yeah, those high jumpers. Like, how cool is that? Also, like, how millennial is that? Like, can we just both have it?
Yeah. Then we can go get mimosas afterwards.
But this is the Mount Rushmore podcast, and we are at a halftime. We're going to implore you to go out on the internet and search Mount Rushmore podcast, then find the second most popular result, and that's probably us. Actually, if there's an icon that you like, the one you see right here in the bottom right-hand side of the screen or left-hand side of the screen, look for that, and then sign up, subscribe, download, rate, and review past episodes. And then the big favor that we have for you, it could happen right now, it could happen later on, is be like listener Ryan Love has, be like listener Vincent Pagano has, who are watching right now, and offer a suggestion as to a topic that you would love to hear discussed on the Mount Rushmore podcast. You could even zoom in and be a guest and enjoy all the perks that goes with that.
Hey, Ryan has been a guest.
So
he
Vincent.
talked,
Yeah.
They both
guests.
We're awesome.
They're both guests.
Appreciate it.
And we loved it. Jacob Dubois is watching. That's a busy guy.
Plus, he's got like twins, so that's like 2 more people that are watching.
Yeah, that's true.
That counts.
That counts as 3.
Yes. Jacob, thanks for watching. Octomom, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. So we are doing the Mount Rushmore of circus acts, and now it's going to be Richard is going to let us know his third choice.
All right, my third choice is the Wall of Death.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Or the Globe of Terror, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, anything that involves motorcyclists going really fast in a circular
cyclodrome,
some sort of circular enclosure. Again, I wonder who. This one, I don't have to wonder who these people are. Sometimes you wonder, like, okay, how do you get started on this, and how do you train for it? These are like just guys who'd washed out of the motocross circuit.
Yeah.
And still don't have anything else to do other than ride motorcycles, and weren't quite good enough to race.
Yeah.
So they just get in this ball and just go around in a big circle while someone else goes around in a big circle, and somehow they manage to miss each other.
Now, you're from Fresno area?
Yes.
So these guys are all over there, right?
Oh, yeah. You will occasionally see people who have converted part of their farmyard into a motocross track with jumps and the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
100% you'll see that.
Okay. It's like the Kenya of motocross.
Yeah,
it's like the place where those athletes
Kenyans
come
for
from.
marathon, basically, it's the same thing.
And we can only assume that there is a methamphetamine addiction or something involved in this, can we? No.
I don't know.
Okay.
If I understand my Primus,
Yeah.
then yes.
Yeah, according to the Book of Primus.
Yeah, the Les Claypool.
The Les Claypool edition. No, I think we have sanitized a lot of these circus acts over time. We made them safe. People aren't dying. There's no way you can sanitize a guy going like 40 miles per hour in a motorcycle upside down.
Yeah.
While someone else is going side to side doing the exact same thing. If they collide, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
I think the thing about any sort of motorcycle sports or motorcycle events or anything is like, it just proves that motorcycles are like not safe, full stop. Like before you even get inside a globe of death, before you start to ride your motorcycle up off a ramp and jump through like a ring of fire, before you sell your soul to the devil and become the Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
All of these things involving motorcycles were dangerous even before like the supernatural and like Mephisto was involved. They're all like the motorcycle. Like I can't imagine my child riding one someday, even like as like a guy in a sidecar. Like motorcycles just are less like that is just
Stuart Little with his little mouse sidecar thing.
there is just something about the motorcycle that isn't inherently dangerous, that everyone knows it's dangerous, so you just throw it inside like a big globe. Although when they used to do like circuses back in the day before they knew the world was flat, it was just flat. When the world was flat, it was just flat. You just rode. You're just a guy on a motorcycle riding, and it's like, there he goes.
I paid a ticket. I saw him for like 2 seconds.
Okay. See you later.
Yeah, I'm just concerned for these people.
So you are a sports fan, a motorsports fan too.
Yeah.
So is there any connection there?
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure. I mean, it's loud. It goes fast. It goes vroom, vroom, vroom. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a 5-year-old kid at heart.
Would you like to see it if it was like an electric motorcycle?
I'd be less excited.
It's just like.
Or if it was a Vespa, I would be less excited about that.
The Italian circus.
Yeah. And also, I just love the name, the Wall of Death.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah, that's good branding.
If it's a Vespa and it wrecks, that's just one kid who's going to miss his ska band practice.
Right.
That's not a big deal. Yeah.
Didn't Evel Knievel start off doing like the Wall of Death type stuff?
Oh, I don't know about
I think
that.
he did.
Did
I think he was.
Wow.
I think so.
Okay.
Someone can check me on this. But to Michael's point about motorcycles, yes, they are. I don't know anyone who has owned a motorcycle who hasn't wiped out on a motorcycle at some point and hasn't broken their leg or broken an arm. And then you talk to them about it, and it's like, yeah, I don't really ride anymore after the accident. It's like, well, that may not really selling me on getting a motorcycle there, guy.
Well, I think so far what I think is kind of interesting is the different perspectives on what a circus has to offer and what the acts they're in, what makes them compelling. And so I think the theme is danger right now, other than clowns.
Especially, well.
So that's very compelling. Modern circuses have kind of leaned away from animals and for good reason because of the cruelty that is involved with traveling with them, making them perform, exploiting them. But exploiting people, you guys are all for it.
Go
Sounds
for
like
it.
Yep, nailed it.
You signed up for it.
Okay. Well, if you're watching,
my body, my choice when it comes to people getting inside death globes.
yeah,
But
Well,
as long as they're not wearing a
they
mask,
gotta be
because
vaccinated.
because of my freedoms.
Linda Richardson, I see that you're watching.
Hey, that's my sister.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Well,
Hi, sis.
thanks so much for watching the show, and thanks so much for commenting, because we really need you to comment, to put something in chat. Maybe it's there and I'm just missing it because I'm watching it on my phone. But I would love to find out what you think is one of the compelling aspects of circus acts. So, and at this point, we're going to go over to Michael for his third.
So on the back half of my picks is something more new and something more old school. So I'll start with the new side of things. And it is whatever the hell those French Canadians are doing with the Cirque du Soleil. And I can't remember the last time I've been to a real circus. I think the last I went to like a Barnum and Bailey sort of, or what's the other one?
Circus Vargas.
Circus Vargas or something Brothers.
Ararat Shrine.
Maybe when I was 10.
Yeah.
But I've been to multiple Cirque du Soleil type circuses. And I remember going to the first one, like my mom and my stepdad, when I was probably 12 or 13. And they're like, we're going to the circus. And I was like, okay, cool. I understand what that is. And then you walk in and you're like, why are these people dressed in this makeup with these long noses and these hats and all these different things? And then, maybe, 22 minutes into it, you're like, oh my God, I'm so mesmerized by the acrobatics, but also like just the foreignness of it. And I think that there is an element of the circus, or at least Cirque du Soleil, that there is this foreign cultural thing that they're imposing upon you that you're just like brought into. They're telling a story in a way that a circus doesn't really tell a story. A circus is these acts of things that people do. Mm-hmm. And you go into Cirque du Soleil and it's like, Revelique. I don't know if that's a French word. Probably is. Maybe it's a Cirque du Soleil word, or it's like Oceano, and you're like, okay, well, there's got some fucking dolphins or people dressed up as dolphins in it. But there's an element of how the circus has changed into that.
Right.
It is more, at least it feels like it is more human performance, almost like a story that's being told rather than a thing. And maybe there's no specific Cirque du Soleil act, maybe because it's all part of some unique clowning guys and girls and makeup and people with rings and doing the thing. It all feels like a part of something that is a circus. It's under a tent, but it's so separate from the kind of traditional, I don't know, American or whatever version of, some sort of huckster traveling.
Cirque de Americana.
Yeah, whatever it is that is someone that's traveling from town to town with, like an elephant in a cage, or the Casey Jones train. There's something is so unique about that is also so mesmerizing. It's almost disappointing that they're in like Las Vegas.
Right.
When they've
Really?
I think so. It feels like they've settled down into something that feels like, okay, well, you can do this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, don't they also tour? They have like a touring group, and then they have like a
Yeah, I think
residency.
That's
of
more
of
knowledge
Vegas.
than I've.
Orlando, they have a residency. I think they have a few other residencies. And I'm hearing what you're saying. There's something exotic and otherworldly about it. I think there's also a heavier narrative in Cirque than you have in, or can be perceived in, a Ringling Brothers show.
I think so much of what makes an American circus is the things that we've talked about. It's like the death-defying. It is not that there aren't people that are climbing up, 20 stories or 10 stories and falling or potentially falling to their death. But there's like, it is like a a guy with a handlebar mustache.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, eating fire, and you're like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, if I got drunk enough, I could try that. I think there's an element of like an American circus. Of like, if I got drunk enough, I could do whatever that is.
I can see Michael at Lollapalooza at the Jim Rhodes Circus sideshow.
Certainly.
I could lift that block with my testicles. Yes.
The American circus of someone having a cannonball shot into their stomach is like, it's the Homer Simpson,
Simpson,
of
right.
it all. Where it's just like, I could I survive that? Sure. I could not climb a rope suspended from 3 other people with my toes upside down. It's like, that's something that Italians can only do.
So what is your choice here?
Danger diabolique. That's the only person that can only really do that.
Your choice here is the European circus.
I think so. I think that there is.
Is that an act or is that more of a mode?
You can you can argue it or discontinue it, but I think that there is an element of it that it's hard to separate one part from the other because it's a singular story. So I understand if you're like,
You were talking about Simpsons and Homer and the Cannonball, becoming the Cannonball guy at a Lollapalooza or whatever. But the Simpsons also skewered Cirque du Soleil. Do you remember there was someone who had me open my jar of rainbows? That character?
No, that must have been after I stopped watching.
Okay, yeah.
There's an incredible this thing that Emily and I quote all the time. There's an incredible episode of maybe on the first or second season of Reno 911 from the early 2000s, where they're trying to get a description, someone's robbed a store and they only have the only eyewitness is someone that's dressed up as a Cirque du Soleil character, and they have this long nose, and they're like, who is it? It's and they're very talking in some phony French Canadian accent, and they're trying to say they're trying to get him to say hallelujah, and he's like, bang.
Oh my God!
Now Richard's watching us live.
I'm watching us while we're recording. We've reached inception.
And he's doing bang, 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 bang. And it's just oh, this is everything that's so creepy about this thing I'm watching.
Yeah. It does have a dreamlike narrative, heavy on the music, with always electronic violin going on and that stuff. So, okay, so the last choice. No, I'm not.
No,
I'm wrong. So
it's
Richard,
my last choice.
Richard, what is your fourth choice?
My fourth,
and say it to Linda Richardson and Leslie Petrie.
That's my niece.
Okay, all right. Richard is 100%
Linda,
of the
Leslie.
audience.
My last choice is balancing acts, but I'm not talking about the wire.
Yeah.
I don't care about that because you really just do one thing.
Yes.
You just walk across it.
Yes.
And everyone goes, "Ooh, that's impressive."
Yes.
Okay. Once you've done it, there's relatively little difference inside a tent where there's not wind and stuff like that between doing it 10 feet in the air and doing it 100 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that you're just a lot higher up.
You hear that? All the higher wire artists who
are listening right now.
I'm
calling you out. But I'm fascinated, and I love to see the people who stack 5 chairs on top of each other sideways and then balance on the one little leg of it. As someone whose balance and coordination is nil at this point, anyone who can do that, it just has my complete and utter respect.
Yes. I would say, when you say anyone, I would guess 99.9% are non-North Americans and not from the U.S., because there is no economic incentive for anybody from the United States to put that much training and skill into developing that.
Unless you're a former, I believe a lot of these people are former Olympic gymnasts.
Oh, you think? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a certain body type you need to have to be good at this. And obviously, if you're a gymnast, you have incredible balance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that I was going to say you can't teach, but obviously you can teach over decades and decades of having Bella Caroli yell at you.
The wife and I went to a Spiegel tent show in San Francisco.
A what?
Spiegel tent.
Okay. You're going to explain what that is, I hope.
Play, Spiegel is German, so it's the European small tent circus show. So it's not like the big...
Tent means tent.
Yeah, tent is German for tent.
So anyway, Teatro Zinzani. And it is a pre-show, which is these characters roaming among the tables and delivering dialogue.
Stealing your wallets. just pickpocketing you.
It totally is distracting while they rifle through.
Like this, snapping their fingers. And then
what? Oh, where's my watch? And they are the worst actors I've ever met in my life. And my wife and I were just looking at each other and cringing, what did we sign up for? These people are the worst. And they're delivering dialogue about how the circus will have to go away if the evil landlord, we can't pay him the rent because he's going to shut the circus down. And it was just the most hackneyed acting. And then Act 2 begins, and you realize all of these people are spectacular acrobats.
Sure.
They're not actors. They're stacking hundreds of chairs on top of it. They're juggling 73 hats.
Right.
They're breathing fire. They're housing swords in their gullets and things like that. They have nothing. Acting is the last thing that they were even told was going to be part of this job.
Richard, I think we've seen enough wrestling
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
know that there can be people that are good performers in the ring, and then they grab the microphone and then they just sound like
Idiots.
like
Yes.
a guy trying to read a children's book backwards, and you're just like, what? Just hit the guy with a
Steel chair or whatever you're supposed to do.
hit him in a headlock. You look good that way.
Right. But I think with the balancing act, there's that element of, okay, are they actually going to pull this off?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of these moves that are like, oh, they can't do that. There's no way they can stand on that. Oh my God, they're actually standing on that.
Yeah.
So I think that's that sense of wonder that I talked about earlier that
Yeah.
you're looking for from the circus.
And I think that's also relatable because I guess I could kind of relate to the high wire act I could definitely relate to him falling and the wall of death. But if 25 chairs fell on my head, I feel that, bro.
Yeah, I feel that pain.
Yeah.
The closest I get to the balancing act is, can I carry these like 11 grocery bags at the same time from the car? Do I can I manage the strength and trying to balance each side, or do I have to make that unfortunate last trip to get the smallest bag and like the can of LaCroix? And like I want to be the person that is able to do it all. And I imagine this is the
Makes you feel like a man, doesn't it?
the first starting step to becoming like someone that can believe in themselves and to do all the balancing act is like, can I balance all of this in my arms?
Well, that's how they.
Around?
That's
And
how
it's
they.
like, oh, I can do it.
That's how they scout the circus. They actually just go to
go to
Trainer
Ralph's parking lots and see guys.
Got it. Oh, the bananas are like on his pinky. Get him in here.
He dropped an avocado. He's not in our circus. So who's
My last one.
It's your last one. Okay, all right. It's your last one. This is the last. So those of you who are just now tuning in because you despise just listening to a show, you wanted to see the Mount Rushmore podcast and the men who created it in person before you get on board the awesomeness train. We have ranked all but one. They each get to choose 4, and this is Michael's final choice. And go for it.
God, what a setup for a letdown. This is like, I thought of this in terms of like a Wesley Willis song. Is like just a guy like whipping a lion's ass. Like I thought of like a man sticking his head inside a lion's mouth. And I thought to
Did
myself,
the vampire bird do that? Or
I
something?
don't know. Like, it's just like at some point, this was the thing that was like the most incredible thing that a human could do. Like, so death defying, just like this tame ass broken down lion that used to travel around, and someone would just be like, "Arr," and you put their head in, and it was like, ta-da! And like people, I'm sure, went wild. And like, most people at that, back, let's say 100 years ago, maybe they saw that, and all they'd seen is like a donkey kicking someone in the face is like the most brutal thing. And just the potential for a lion chomping down, that must have been incredible. Now, certainly, we don't have this sort of animal cruelty in circuses anymore. I talked about it earlier. I hadn't been to a circus maybe in probably 30 years, and I don't think that they travel with animals anymore.
Ringling Brothers still does.
Do they?
I think they still do. They did as of like 5 years ago.
Okay.
I thought they were even shutting down or something.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
But maybe like you'd see like horse acts, or maybe you'd see like a dog jumping through a hoop. But I literally don't know. Like I said, zero research, just basing it on like the idea and the memory and the whateverness of it. But like just the lion that's standing there and some guy that's holding a whip and just whipping at a lion and then like going after him and then being like, guess what? Like these fucking lions must be like, God, what a fucking horrible day. Every day I get whipped at, and then the guy puts his head in my mouth, and I don't bite down. The self-esteem of these poor lions. They're just sitting there just like, what am I doing?
Lovely.
What if I did it? What if I did it? What if I did
Yeah.
it? What if I just bit down?
What's chomp.
The worst thing that happens is I die, and I'm a lion, and I have like, my concept of death is like, I die.
Yeah.
It's part of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
circle of life.
And then what else happens? I hate this fucking guy that's
hate
been
this guy.
whipping me. And how the other lions are going to think about that? They're going to be like, that guy was the best lion. That guy in his head. That was the best lion I've ever known. It was Todd. It was so
Todd the
good.
lion.
I stand. All right.
Oh, well.
Now I'm getting whipped.
What a way to go.
I seem to remember this would be the sort of thing that you would be teased on Circus of the Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Like John Davidson's going to become a lion tamer. And I'd always think to myself, the lions care that it's John Davidson?
Yeah.
Are they starstruck?
They don't know.
They don't know. They don't care. They just know somebody's whipping them.
Yeah. There's no special,
No special
It's
star whip
Kathy
or anything.
Kathy Lee Crosby. They don't care whether it's her or not.
I will say that the circus does have a really well-developed sense of style and sense of a visual kind of continuance that like the circus strongman. My child at 1.5 dressed up. He was a circus strongman. You could dress him up as a lion tamer. Any of these sorts of things that have just continued through American nostalgia. These things have endured. That image of the guy with a twirly mustache and the hat and all of the. It's amazing that these things have maintained for so long. The clown that you talked about, even the hobo clown. All these things are just embedded in American society as the circus. This thing that just persists.
I do
It's
wonder if
wild.
that is...
In spite of it, in spite of, at least for a year and a half, of who the fuck goes to a circus? Certainly nobody.
Yeah.
Right.
And then now it's our circus is going to make a big comeback in 2022? Maybe.
Yeah.
We're on the vanguard talking about this of
We are the
circus comeback.
We are the
Yeah.
heroes. You're right.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back, because I hate it when we kill the wrong people. We've done that
We've done that too many times by talking about them. Did we talk about Marky Post recently?
Ugh.
No.
Rest in,
Good.
Cliff
rest in
Robinson
peace.
either.
Okay.
God bless both of them.
All right, so this has been a great discussion. This is the Mount Rushmore of circus acts, and at this point, this is my opportunity to give a ranking. And there's a dark horse entrance that came in via chat that is going to be the first winning vote.
Wow.
And that is unicycles while juggling from Leslie Petrie.
Yes.
Unicycles while juggling? Question mark. She didn't type it with that much confidence, but girl, you did great because you are the number one choice. So Leslie
How many
Petrie,
points do you want to give that one, Jeff?
33 points.
Wow. Big one.
That's a lot, but
Yeah.
it's my niece, so I can't really
Yeah, you don't want to take
argue
away
with it. Yeah.
from your niece.
Do I get half the points or quarter of the points being family?
Who is this guy? Oh my God, this is like Trump taking stuff away from his family or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
the judge.
Okay. Okay. Well, you get some other points because
Oh, okay, good.
the audience is all your family, other than Ryan Love, who's been valiantly commenting. So let's go with Wall of Death and Balancing Act, and then I think Todd the Lion also has to get in there somewhere
absolutely.
because that really actually. More than the roar of the grease paint and the smell of the crowd captured the pathos of the circus very acutely. We are going to be back. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to be back streaming again in just a little bit with the Mount Rushmore of sports ejections. And what we're going to do before that starts is we'll post in the Mount Rushmore podcast group page on Facebook some links to some videos if we find them to some great sports ejections, and we're going to be back in just a little bit with that. And this has been the Mount Rushmore of Circus Acts. I, as always, am Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Todd the Lion. Rawr.